Hi everyone, this is Misha from Made Up Research, and today we're gonna be torturing my eyes. You might be wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup at all. Well, it's because I'm gonna be removing a lot of it many times. Today we're gonna be having a drugstore tubing mascara battle because there are so many tubing mascaras and I'm so excited about them that I just have to show you all of them, preferably in one video, which is 7 mascaras. Pray for my eyelids. But I feel like we need to determine the best one, because you don't want to be going around buying all of them like me, just because you're excited. Some of these I've had for a longer time, some of these are newer, so don't be afraid I'm using all of them. I'm probably going to use up most of these. All of these are drugstore. I'm very happy to report that. Some of these I have are black, some of these are brown. We're going to rank them in categories because I like to make stuff very precise. Okay, so we have 7 mascaras in total. We have Maxfactor, Catrice, Essence, Rival Loves Me, E.L.F, Revolution, and L'Oreal. So we have about everyone that can be in the drugstore. And those are all the ones that we're going to be rating today. So we're going to be rating the brush, for sure. Then we're going to be rating the formula. Then we're going to be rating the effect. And we're going to be rating the removal. Do you know what a tubing mascara is? Well, if you don't, let me tell you. Now, tubing mascara is kind of like a regular mascara. The effect is the same. It's supposed to have like very same experience. However, it does form these like little tunnels on your lashes. So you're capable of removing it with just hot water. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Doesn't mean that when I'm in the rain, it's going to come off. No, not at all. Actually, these are, on me at least, a lot better lasting than even waterproof mascaras. So that's just all I wanted to say. I have a lot of experience with these mascaras. I love them. They work the best on me. I'm working on using only tubing mascaras from now on because I just cannot be bothered with the normal ones. So that's how it works. That's the biggest like upside, that because it forms these little tubes, it doesn't go smudging everywhere. And also it's very easy to remove. So that's what we're going to be testing today. I'm going to be removing them with water at my sink, not at my desk, because that would be super messy. But I will let you know how it went. And then I'm going to be removing them with some micellar water if it doesn't work well. And then we're going to determine the ultimate best tubing mascara from the drugstore as of 11th November. This is when I'm filming this video. So these are my lashes like naturally. This is what they look like. They're pretty long. You cannot probably really see, but this is my lashes. The biggest downside of my lashes is that they're very blonde. So even though I have them growing in like multiple rows pretty thickly, you cannot really see because they're, blonde. And also they grow like this. So kind of straight down to hell. Let's start off with the first one. So the first one I'm gonna take is the E.L.F Lash Extender Mascara, which I have in the shade brown. Now this mascara I've had for a while, but it's still fine. It's still working well. This was probably the first tubing drugstore mascara that I heard of, and I'm wearing it quite a lot. So let's evaluate. First of all, the brush. Now this brush specifically is a very spiky one. Oh, this actually works wonderful. Okay, so you can see that the brush is very spiky. It's coney, spiky brush. It's like a medium flexible. I would say this brush, well, we'll see how it applies. Also, my lashes are pretty wonky, so it's not gonna be like the best mascara application you've ever seen. This is our first coat of the first mascara. So now looking back at the brush, I'm gonna give it a 4 because the only thing I don't really like is that it can kind of scratch you a little bit if you go too close to your eye. It's kind of hard. Now the formula of this is a very easy 5 out of 5 because I love this formula so much. I love it in the brown because it almost looks like black. I feel like it really suits me. And the effect of one coat, I think, is pretty decent. I'm going to do a second coat just because I'm very curious. All right, this is the second coat. Now, this is supposed to be mostly lengthening mascara, if I remember correctly. So this is what it looks like. Those are my lashes with it. I feel like this is pretty impressive. Like, my lashes look really nice. It's a tiny bit clumpy. I feel like some of the lashes are a bit too like glued together. But overall, the effect, I give it like a 4, maybe. Yeah, I feel like that's fair because I do wear it a lot. I know how it looks on me. I really enjoy that. Yeah, so we're gonna keep that at 4 as well. We have a strong contender for the beginning, but I kind of knew that because I do like this mascara a lot. Okay, and now I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna attempt to remove it using only hot water. This is gonna be a very tough day for my eyes. However, I did remove it completely. I think you can see that I don't really have anything on my lashes anymore. So I would say the removal was a 5. Like, there was nothing really, you know, that I could worry about. The second contestant is the Makeup Revolution Wrap Lash Mega Extension and Volume Tubing Mascara. So again, we're looking mostly at like lengthening and kind of a volumizing properties as well. It definitely is brown. They do have various colors of this one. It does feel pretty heavy. The packaging feels kind of luxurious with all the ridges. So now, the brush. Actually very similar to the E.L.F. one. This one is also very spiky, a little bit less cone-like, a little bit more spear-like. This one is a lot more flexible though, so far, if it's not too spiky, I think we're looking at a 5 out of 5 brush. The brush is a little bit longer, so I think it really depends on the shape of your eye, if you prefer that or not. I feel like the color is a little bit warmer. Also, it's a little bit messier. It smells like soy sauce. Why does it smell like soy sauce? I'm gonna do a second coat and we're gonna talk about it all. Okay, is it just me or is this like really lengthening? Before it dries down, let's talk about the properties. So the brush I really like. I think this is a 5 out of 5 brush. It wasn't stinging my eye at all. So it wasn't like poking my lash roots. I really like that. So I'm going to give it a 5 on the brush. On the formula, I'm gonna give it a 4 because I do feel like it's a bit messy and a bit sticky. Like when I blinked into the brush once, it did like glue my bottom lashes to my face, which wasn't that nice. So I think the formula is a little bit more sticky than I would like. So I'm going to give it a 4. Now the effect, let's evaluate that now. These are my lashes with the mascara. Now what do we think? I think this is pretty good. They're very long. I would definitely think that the lengthening property is being fulfilled. Volume, kind of, but I love the color. It's a very similar tone of brown to the E.L.F. one. This is a good mascara, so I'm gonna give it a 5 on the effect. And removal, we're gonna see in a minute. So I just removed it. It removed pretty easily, but what I don't really like is the stickiness. Like when I pressed my eyes hard together, like not even that hard, just like it, like my lashes stuck together, my top and bottom lashes, which I really don't like, and I would just go crazy if that happened through the day. So the formula, I don't know if I should put it, I'm gonna put it to 3.5 because I feel like 4 is a bit too good. Now the removal was a little bit difficult because of the stickiness as well, so I'm gonna put the removal on 4. But overall, I think it's a good mascara. It's just, it's a bit sticky for me. I will have to figure out how to use it and maybe not even go 2 layers in because I feel like that's maybe too much. Let's take the OG now. This is the L'Oreal Panorama mascara, which I did not know was a tubing mascara until I read it on Reddit. The brush is very interesting. It's again a cone. However, this cone is a little bit thicker. I have been using this for a while, so I know how I feel about the brush. It's not my favorite, but it is also pretty flexible. Now I'm gonna give this brush a 4. Because it can also stab me in the eye sometimes. So let's apply it and see how it works. It's supposed to be mostly volumizing, and I actually feel like that's the one thing it doesn't really do. I'm gonna keep the brush at 4 because it's nice, but it's very stabby. Once you stab yourself in the eye, it's over. The formula though, I do like the formula because it's not too wet. It's actually pretty decent. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I think I'm gonna give it a 5. Now the effect of this is kind of lacking for me. So those are my lashes with the L'Oreal mascara. Like it's not bad, but it's definitely not as volumizing as the Revolution one, I think. So for the effect, I'm gonna give this a 4. And we're back. So this one again removed pretty well. The only downside of this one is that it does leave a lot of residue in your eyes. For some reasons the other don't do it. But this one does kind of just linger everywhere and you have to then go all evening and just keep rubbing your eyes and getting all the black bits out. So that one is kind of a reason to maybe subtract like half a point, I think. So I'm gonna go for 4.5 for the removal. Our next contestant is one of the newer ones. This is the Maxfactor Long Lash Era 2000 Calorie Mascara. This is, again, a tubing lengthening mascara. It is supposed to be smudge-proof and clump-free from what I can see on the packaging. Now, this one has a very different brush to the other ones. It's, again, like a plastic spiky brush, but it's a little bit bent. And, again, it's pretty unflexible. It's not really my favorite, as you probably can tell. Let's apply it and see what we think about the effect. We have a second eye stab. Okay, I straight up hate the brush on the bottom lashes. Like, that is just impossible to apply. It's so fucking messy. Okay, that is pretty messy. So for the brush, I'm gonna give it a 3 because I really don't like how stiff it is. I don't like the curve. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm usually using like the dip side to just distribute the product and then the other side to like push it more up. I don't know if I like it though. These claims on the mascaras are insane to me sometimes. Because this does feel a lot like a volumizing mascara. I feel like my lashes are more short and stubby and volumized than lengthened. What the hell? Well, anyway, the formula. Really messy. I'm gonna give it like a 3 out of 5. No, maybe a 4. Maybe a 4. I quite like it, but it does get a little bit liquidy. Now, the effect of this is very underwhelming. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I really don't like how... I don't like what the brush does. I think it's the brush's fault, kind of. It's just very stubby, but this is what they look like. I feel like they're just more volumized, not as long as they were with the other mascaras. And now I just don't love the look. So this is not my favorite. And I knew it since I started using it that the brush is just not going to cut it for me. And the formula is very liquidy. So this is not my favorite for sure. Okay. I think it's a bit imperfect. Like, you can still see some of the product near the roots of the lashes. So I'm going to give this one a 4 because I don't think that is right. I just don't like that. I'm going to help it a little bit. Let's keep going. 4 down, 3 to go. Now I'm going to take this one. This is probably the most affordable one we have. This is the Rival Loves Me Tubing Balm Easy Wash Off Mascara. So I feel like the biggest thing with this one was that you can just wash it off with water. Yeah, it's supposed to be both volumizing and lengthening. This one is a first one with like a regular brush. So you have like a regular bristle brush that is pretty small. The bristles are pretty dense. And no, it's not at all flexible. The formula of this one feels really thin. I feel like this one definitely has to be layered because this is not doing much for me. And there we go. So I like the brush more than I would say. I'm usually a fan of the, very flimsy plasticky brushes, but this one I feel like did a really good job of distributing the product. I didn't stab myself, and the bristles are really short and soft. So I feel like the brush is pretty good. I'm gonna give that a 4. But what I don't really like is the formula. I feel like it is dry, so it's not going to make a whole lot of mess. But what I really don't like about it is that the effect is really lacking. So, okay, so maybe it's not really the formula though. I'm gonna give the formula a 4 as well, because I don't think it's great, but it's not super messy, it's not sticky, it's very lightweight. I like that. What I don't really like is the effect, because I feel like this does the least for me in terms of my lashes. You can tell me what you think, but I feel like this one is not that impressive. So I'm going to give the effect a 3 because I just don't think that is a very good mascara. Yeah, also just the fact that it's being advertised as just easy wash off mascara is kind of throwing me off because I don't think that should be your main selling point with a mascara. Like, you should still remove your makeup properly. It is the cheapest one by far, but I feel like it's just not giving me that much. This one, removal wise, 5 out of 5. Like, this was so easy to remove. Felt really good, so I feel like that does deserve some praise for that. We're down to the last 2, and I was saving these for the last because I was most excited about them, but I also use both of these in my videos, so you may have seen these before. First, we're gonna take this one. This is the Catrice Tubing Stay in Place Volume Mascara. It is a chunky one, but they do have a lot of chunky mascaras. So the brush in this case is, again, I think it's plastic, yeah. This is, again, a plasticky, spiky brush. The shape is a little interesting. It's different. Now, the flexibility of this one is more like a medium one. It's very similar to the E.L.F. brush. So let's apply it and see what we think. I like that the brush is small, so you cannot really stab yourself in the eye that well. Alright, so this is the Catrice tubing mascara. Now, I did make a little bit of a mess, but nothing too crazy. Now, one great advantage of this brush is that when you stab yourself in the eye, like I did a little bit a while ago, it doesn't really hurt that much because it's not that spiky and the spikes are very short. So it's not that bad. So I'm gonna give the brush, I think, a 5. I do like this brush a lot. If we look at the lashes again, I would say that this is like not a bad effect. It is supposed to be mostly volumizing, which I feel like it is, because it does create like that very thick band along my lashes, which I do like a lot. So for the effect, I would give this, I think I would give it like a 4. Like, it's not like super out there, but it's definitely something I wouldn't mind wearing every day. 4.5 is a fair for the effect. The formula I like a lot. It's not super wet. It just feels pretty good. The black is really black. So I think I'm going to give a 5 to the formula because I cannot really think of anything super annoying about it. So the removal was pretty easy. I feel like this one dried down a little bit faster than the rest of them. Maybe it's the formula, I don't know. But overall, pretty happy with it. I'm going to give it a 5 for the removal. Let's move on to the last mascara I have, which is the Essence Lash Without Limits Tubing Extreme Lengthening and Volume Mascara. Again, we have a ton of claims for this one. The brush on this one is very interesting. It's really short and stubby with like pretty big spiky bristles. So this one did kind of terrify me right from the start. But what I have to note about all of these is that the brushes are fairly small. Besides the Maxfactor one, I feel like the brushes are pretty small, so even if you have like smaller eyes, you know, shorter lids, shorter lashes, you can use all of these pretty much. I'm really scared of this brush, but it does feel like it's gripping the lashes very nicely. But I also feel like the bristles are very sparse, so the brush is just loaded with product that is quite liquidy, and this is where it gets a little bit messy. So this is the Essence mascara. Now, brush-wise, you can stab yourself with this brush. I managed not to today, but you definitely can. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 on the brush because it is a little bit stabby. The bristles are a little bit more sparse, so there's a lot of product being loaded onto the brush, which can then result in a little bit more formula on your eyes than you would like. So, but still it performs really well. I just have a few little, things to pick with it. Now, formula-wise, the formula is very wet. So, again, I think I would resort to 4.5 because I do like it. Maybe 4. Yeah, let's do 4. Now, the effect, let's look at my lashes now. I feel like this is pretty good. Like, it's definitely volumizing. I think it's lengthening too. To me, this looks a little bit more prominent than the Catrice mascara. So I think I'm going to give it a 5 on the effect because I really like the way it looks. Again, this would be perfectly fine for like everyday wear. And now we're going to see how it removes again. So there we go. The last one removed. My eyes are sore. But thank God I'm not doing this with waterproof mascaras. I think this was perfectly fine. I'm going to give it a 5 because there's not really much to be mad at. It did go pretty well. It was easy to remove. Who is the winner? The third best mascara that we had here today was actually the first one with 18 points. This is the E.L.F. Lash Extender Mascara. This one was my third most favorite. One downside of E.L.F. is that you cannot really get it in most Central Europe, I feel like. You definitely cannot get it in Czech Republic, and they don't deliver here either. So this one might be a little bit complicated, not as accessible. However, I do really like it. I would like it in black as well. Second place goes to the Essence Lash Without Limits Tubing Mascara. Not surprised by this one as much because I do really, really like it. You have to be a little bit careful with the brush and the formula is a little bit wet, but I feel like it's still like being outweighed by the effect of this mascara and I really do like it. And the first place goes to the Catrice Tubing Stay in Place Mascara. Honestly, no surprises there because this is my everyday mascara at the moment, so I kind of knew this is going to be really high up there, but I wanted to see how it compares to the other ones. Here we have our top 3 of tubing mascaras in the drugstore at the moment. I completely agree with this rating. I'm also very happy that all of these are like the most affordable ones that I have here, basically, so I'm very happy about that. However, any one of these is very much usable, is a tubing mascara, removes pretty well. So yeah, well, if you wanted a little rundown of TUBING drugstore mascaras and what to get, I basically just told you that the best ones are the ones where you can save your money. So that's a good sign. But yeah, this is very subjective. So let me know if you liked any of the mascaras better. Maybe you preferred some other ones on my lashes. Who knows? I'm open to opinions. And that is all. I'm gonna go get an eye mask on now because those are getting a little sore. So like this video if you enjoyed this little drugstore mascara battle, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!